So we are less than 24 hours away from the new set Wisdom of Sea and Sky, so I'm going to look through and give you my hot takes. Hey, I'm Andy, I make videos about the competitive scene in Pokemon Pocket. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, maybe a cheeky sub, and let's get into it. So first of all, I'm not going to look at every card in the set because some of them just aren't really worth bothering with. First up, we are going to look at probably at least out of the gate, the meta-defining card, which is Crobat EX. So 170 health. 1 energy Venomous Slash for 70, your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned, so that really means it does 80, 90 if they stay in. Weak to fighting, 1 retreat cost. So this card is going to be everywhere. It's dark, so you can also pair it with Darkrai for extra chip damage. It does poison, so you can run it with Nihilego for extra damage. The main thing is it is super fast, so if you get the first turn, you evolve on your first energy into Crobat EX and you do 80 damage. So what that does do is that'll one-shot a type null. It'll handle most basics in the game. And also then you're two-shotting Giratina, you're two-shotting Darkrai. This is a serious threat. And on top of that, it has 170 health. So it's not something you can easily chip down or two-shot yourself. Definitely the first top-tier deck to come out of the initial previews of the set. However, this does single-handedly make Rampardos relevant in the meta, because Rampardos will do 150 with weakness and then a red will finish off the Crobat EX. But Crobat EX is terrifying if it comes out on curve. Like, it's so good, we're going to have to talk about the rest of the set in the context of Crobat EX. For this set, I'm going to start off looking at the supporters because they have such a big effect on other cards in the set. So let's start off with Will. So supporter, the next time you flip any number of coins for the effect of an attack, ability or trainer card after using this card on this turn, the first coin flip will definitely be heads. So you guarantee the first heads of whatever ability you use. The big caveat to remember is that it is on this turn, so this doesn't work with Team Rocket, Grunt or Misty because you can only use one supporter per turn. Now, the thing with something like this card is we're going to have to go all the way back to the office and reevaluate every card that has a flip effect right from the beginning of the game. So for example, Marowak, flip 2 coins, do 80 damage for each, and you can now guarantee the 80, and you're putting the 160 on a 50-50. However, there are going to be a lot of interesting decks that are trying to use Will to make bad cards good. And the real use for Will really is to make good cards better. So for example, Guzzlord, Grindcore, 2 energy, and then you flip heads. You flip until you get tails, and then you remove energy from your opponent for that. Being able to guarantee at least removing 1 energy is a big deal, so you're making a good card better. So that's a good use. The rest of the time, you know, like as I mentioned, Marowak. Does it make Marowak better? Yes, but I don't think it's that relevant these days. For example, Tinkaton EX, so stage 2, 3 energy, terrific thumping, so 80 plus, flip a coin, if heads attacks does 80 damage. So you can guarantee the 160. It's probably, so Will is good enough to make people try this. Well, I don't know if I'm convinced about how good it is really, but I think you're definitely going to see a lot of experimentation this season with Will. Okay, Lyra. So Lyra is a very important card in some situations. It looks just like, oh, it's like Leaf, but better. Well, yes. So what it does do is you switch your active Pokemon that has damage on it with one of your bench Pokemon. So this is switching, this is not retreating. You can only retreat once. So this sort of gets around that caveat, which means that if we're looking at something like the recent Dragonite EX, during your next turn this Pokemon can't attack. This is a status condition that goes away if you are switched from the active slot. So what people were doing previously was putting fossils in there, but it gets a bit awkward. So what this does mean is you can swing with the Giga Impact, assuming your opponent will probably swing on this, or it'll already have damage on it. Then you Lyra it back to your bench, you move something in, you put an energy on that, you retreat that back into the Dragonite, and you punch again. So what Lyra does, if Lyra does anything, it'll enable Dragonite EX decks to be a bit better than they are currently. Because they're okay, but they're not quite there. And in general, Lyra is quite good if you have, so Leaf only lets you retreat Leaf reduces the cost of your retreat by 2. What Lyra does, it just removes it regardless of retreat cost. So if you have chunkier decks, which like 3 or 4 retreat cost, Lyra is worth looking at in that case. And different to Illimer, It doesn't put it to your hand, and also it's any Pokemon. Silver. Now, this is probably on like similar to Mars in power level, just a bit different. So your opponent reveals their hand, choose a supporter card you find there, and shuffle it into your opponent's deck. So this is giving you hand information, so early game, this is actually incredibly useful because if someone needs an early game supporter, you just bin that off. And also you get to see what their hand is. Pretty incredible information early in the game. As the game gets on, it's less useful because there's more chance your opponent will just draw back into whatever you discarded. But I think you're going to see Silver a lot. It's up there with like Mars, I think. Fissure. So flip 3 coins. For each heads, a water Pokemon is chosen at random from your discard pile and put into your hand. So this is pretty much designed to work with the new Gyarados. Actually, I'll bring that up now, because we may as well have a look at that. So your new Gyarados is Wild Swing, so 2 energy does 20 damage, and then you may discard any number of your benched water Pokemon. This attack does 40 more damage for each bench Pokemon discard this way. So the idea is you would just clear your bench to do what, 20, 60, 100, 140, and then when you use Fissure, maybe you get some of them back, maybe you play some from your hand. My feeling is the Gyarados deck is okay. It feels a bit more like a Sweet Relay meme kind of thing. This obviously helps, but also you're flipping 3 coins, so you know, good luck. Jasmine. So during your opponent's next turn, all of your Steelix and Skarmory EX take minus 50 damage or attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. I think obviously Dark typing is going to become strong because of Crobat, and I'll talk about fighting later. Steel is another. I think Steel could be a bit of a sleeper hit in this meta because of cards like Jasmine, because minus 50 is you're just nullifying a lot of damage. So this comboed with other cards and abilities might make Steel decks relevant, but we'll have to see. The last supporter, Hiker. So for each of your fighting Pokemon in play, look at that many cards from the top of your deck and put them back in any order. Now, I did mention that Rampardos stocks are up because of Crobat. The issue is Rampardos is a fossil, so it's not a fighting tape, so that sort of goes against using Hiker. It sounds good, but between like Silver, Mars, Red card, what's likely to happen is you play Hiker, you lay out your cards perfectly, and then your opponent red cards you, or Marses you, and you shuffle your deck and that's all gone. So Hiker just doesn't seem that good to me. It's probably the weakest supporter, I think, in this set. So new item, Elemental Switch. Move a fire, water, or electric energy from one of your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. It's like it's Dawn, but for specific energy types. And it's an item, so you can use it as a support in one turn. I think this is pretty good. Any deck that was previously using Dawn, if they can, will just use Elemental Switch. It seems solid. Squirt Bottle. So discard a fire energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. This is predominantly anti-Charizard. So the Stoke Charizard, for example, comes out, they put 1 energy on it, they stoke, they get 3 energy, and then they put another energy and attack next turn. If you Squirt Bottle, you you're forcing them to have to stoke again if they want to attack. This feels a bit too specific a card to be used in a lot of decks. It feels like if you have a good deck and it's one specific weakness is Charizard decks, maybe you take this just to potentially stall them out another turn. But yeah, it's decent, but has niche uses because also fire outside of Charizard doesn't really exist so much. Steel Apron. So this is what I was talking about when I said Steel could be a bit of a sleeper. The Steel Pokemon this card is attached to takes minus 10 damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon, recovers from all special conditions and can't be affected by any special conditions. Now the not being affected by special conditions is good because Crobat exists now, it's going to be everywhere, and it does poison. Maybe you wouldn't like to get poisoned, just slip this on. Also the minus 10 damage, you've just got a constant blue on the go. So what possible combinations could this have? For example, the basic Skarmory likes tools, so running this is quite handy because then you're making it harder to take out. And also not affected by poison. Another use could be, it's a very niche use, but you've got Origin Form, Dialga. So 3 energy, Time Mash, 100. Flip a coin, if tails during next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. Not being able to attack is a special condition, so the apron just basically means this doesn't matter. So you can just keep swinging. So it's a very niche use, but it's something you can do. So Dark Pendant. I mean, if Crobat wasn't already really, really good, you've now got Dark Pendant. So if the Dark Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, your opponent reveals a random card from their hand and shuffles it into their deck. So Crobat also being 170 health means it's probably going to take 2 or 3 hits to take down for a lot of things. And even then, it's going to make your opponent hesitant to chip you down, because why would you want to just throw cards away? So this Crobat and this existing means, stocks on Guzma have gone up as if they weren't already really good. Right, we are now into the Grassmons. So there's a few things I want to talk about with Grass, not all of them good. So we've got Shuckle EX, 120 health. Solid Shell, so minus 20 damage from attacks. Triple Slap, so you're flipping 3 coins, the attack does 20 damage for each hit. So this is, you might look at this and go, oh, it flips coins, I'll use Will. Don't use Will. Like, Will is less useful the more coins you have to flip, really. Will is a lot better for those single coin flips that have strong, like, Will just for a guaranteed 20 is not worth it. Do not waste your time. So Triple Slaps, so it does like, I think you're pretty much guaranteed to get 20 damage, maybe 40 on average. If this is comparable to something, it's Executor EX, which fair enough, had more health. Well, saying that, minus 20 damage sort of helps in that regard. You can Leaf Cape this, you can heal this. So it's tanky, it's also a basic, so it just comes straight out. Doesn't do as much damage as Executor EX, but then the 80 for Executor EX was on a coin flip, so you couldn't guarantee it. Same for this one, but you might do something. I don't know if this is good, but it's definitely worth looking at as something to like sit in the active slot and store while doing a little bit of chip damage. Because it was, Executor EX enjoyed doing it, so why not Shuckle? And Sadness. So Heracross, my beloved, has been done dirty. So 2 energy, single lunge, 40, okay. If this Pokemon has no damage on it, the attack does 40 more damage, which is fine, but it's 2 energy, retreat cost is 2. It's pretty easy to turn off the 80, it's just not good. Also, you may also be thinking, oh, but Barry, yeah? Barry only reduces the colorless cost of a move. So this just doesn't work, and this is not good. Cherubi. So in Fruitsiastic, this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool attached. Attacks used by this Pokemon cost 1 less energy. So what this means is you turn 1 tool this, you can turn 1 attack for no energy. So it's probably something, I mean, Sweet Relay decks are a bit of a meme, but it means you can start the Sweet Relay from turn 1, which is interesting. Further Sadness, we have a new Yanma. So ability is U-turn, 20 damage, and you switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. It's 2 energy, who cares? We are on to Fire now. So there's new Ninetales and Vulpix. This Vulpix is trash because it's 2 energy on the basic. We got Ninetales, so 100 health. 3 energy, which is a bit steep. Scorching Breath, 120. During next turn, this Pokemon can't attack. So this is, so 3 for 120 on a stage 1 is okay. But you sort of need ramp to get to the Scorching Breath. Yes, you can Blaine it to 150, but when's the last time you saw Blaine? It's, in a previous meta, maybe this might have seen play, but otherwise not really. So Typhlosions, we've got the stage 2 of one of the new starters, or the starters on this set, sorry. So Fire Breath, once during your turn, you may make your opponent's active Pokemon burned. This is a really good ability, because it's just 20 damage, and if they don't flip out of it, they're taking 20 damage every turn. So this is a pretty good damage buff. However, it is on a stage 2, and you can obviously the important thing is you can do it from the bench. Magma Punch is fine. It's the thing of, is Fire good enough to where you can have this guy also chilling on the bench? I don't know. Magcargo, so stage 1, 120, Spurt Fire. So 2 energy, fine. 3 retreat cost, okay. 1 other Pokemon, either yours or your opponent's, is chosen at random 3 times. For each time a Pokemon was chosen, do 50 damage to it. This includes yourself, so this is just purely meme territory. Magami. So I haven't talked about babies yet, so maybe I'll do it now. Babies are a huge risk, because babies with 30 health basically means you will be giving your opponent a point, most likely. So what that means is the baby's ability has to be real good. So Magmi, 30 health, so 0 energy for Toasty Toss. Take 1 energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your benched basic Pokemon. This means obviously the later in the game this becomes less useful because you have to put it onto a basic, so you have to sort of wait for the evolution. It's okay. Like any kind of ramp is decent, but you're giving your opponent a point, so I'm not too sure about this one. Then let's look at, obviously we've got the legendary dogs. So we have Entei 110, 4 energy cost, which is ridiculous. Strong Flare 110, flip a coin, if tails discard 2 random energy from this Pokemon. Kind of trash, really. And Ho-Oh EX, one of the flagships from this set, 150 health, 3 energy for Phoenix Turbo 80. So take a fire, water, and electric energy from your energy zone, attach them to your benched basic Pokemon in any way you like. This is basically, it's a Lugia enabler. You can probably use it for other stuff. And doesn't, I mean, you sort of need something else to ramp this, because it's 3 energy. It's quite slow to build up, and then it sort of ramps quite well. I don't think it's that good, and it's definitely not that good compared to like something like Crobat. Lastly, we've got Heatmore. So if there was something you were looking at to pair with the Typhlosion, you've got Roasting Heat, 2 energy, 30 plus, 60 if your opponent's active Pokemon is burned. Basic, 2 energy, basic though, and it is 2 energy, 2 retreat cost. Absolutely not great. We are onto water, and we are looking at Politoed, which has Lordly Cheering. As long as this Pokemon is on your bench, attacks used by your Pokemon that evolve from Poliwhirl do plus 40 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. That means if you have double Politoed, you need to have 1 on the bench, 1 in the active, and it'll do 100 for 2, which isn't great. Also, I mean, really this feels like, the problem is also you can currently only have 2 Pokemon that evolve from Poliwhirl in your deck. So one of them has to be Politoed. I'm assuming, you know, you could use Poliwhirl, sorry, Poliwrath. Maybe if we get a better EX Politoed, EX Poliwrath that are better, this suddenly becomes good, but it's not worth looking at right now. Kingdra EX. So this is 170 health, nice and bulky, stage 2. Retreat cost, Stormy Prison 90. So during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. It's okay for 2 energy. It's definitely no Crobat, but it seems fine. Stopping people retreating is okay. I guess the problem is Lyra ignores that. This is absolutely fine. So new Magikarp, 30 health again, Splashing Dodge 10, flip a coin, if heads during opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. I think the Teleport one is just still better, because you're guaranteeing that you're going to the bench. We have the Gyarados, but we already talked about that. I feel like it's maybe a bit of a meme deck. Feraligatr. So 150, 3 health, Destructive Whirlpool, and 90. Discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. I mean, this is good, discarding energy, but the 3 energy cost is a bit rough, and the 3 retreat cost is ludicrous. So I don't think this is good. Corsola is an interesting basic, because you've now got 1 energy, find a friend. Put a random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. This is really good if you're looking for evolutions. Suicune. So we got Cure Stream, 70, 3 energy. Again, a bit steep. During your opponent's next turn, attacks used by the defending Pokemon do minus 20 damage. It's okay. I mean, you one-shot on Oricorio. It's unfortunately all of the legendary dogs seem to be just fine. Crawdaunt. So stage 1 with an interesting ability, so Unruly Claw. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. This is, I mean, this is a game-breaking ability. Just to be able to put your opponent 1 energy back. And then, but then it's got sort of a mid-attack, so Grab Hammer, 70 for 3 energy is not good. Retreat cost is bad. Like, the ability is really, really good, but I don't know if Crawdaunt itself is good enough to really warrant it. Swanna, so we got 2 energy, Feathery Cyclone, 60. Move all energy from this Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. I've seen people talking about this like it's good. I don't really agree with it. Like, I can see the play with the Gyarados deck because it gives you an alternative way to just charge up 2 energy, switch it over to the Gyarados or whatever, and then you retreat this and then you discard it for the bonus damage. That's lovely, but I just don't really see this getting played that much. We are going into Electrics with Lantern EX. So stage 1, and stage 1 with 3 energy is a bit sketch. So Flashing Signal 80. Flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. If tails, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. You can guarantee the paralysis with Will, which is fine, but not really worth looking at. The main issue is because of Crobat, Rampardos is going to be running around, and Rampardos just one-shots this. So that's a big problem. Like this, if this could sort of get around getting one-shot, maybe a little bit. If this is 170, maybe you could look at this, but I don't think it's that good. Pichu. So another baby. Take electric energy from your energy zone, attach it to one of your benched Pokemon. Free ramp is good. Obviously it's nice with, you'll probably see this with the Dragonite EX deck because it just like, yes, you're probably going to lose the point, but ramping the Dragonite EX is good. Elekid, so another baby. So you get a free Zappy shot. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Just not good enough. You do 20 damage, you lose the Elekid. Who cares? So Raikou, so 92 energy, which is better than the other ones. 70, but you also do 20 damage to yourself. What are we doing here? This is not great. Emolga, I don't know if it's really going to show up in the meta that much, but 70 health, 1 energy Raging Thunder, so 40 damage, so it's sort of like a basic Farfetch'd, electric Farfetch'd. This attack does 10 damage to one of your benched Pokemon as well. It's just not that, like, you're doing damage to your own team, which isn't great, despite the 40 damage. Like, if this was 10 damage to your opponent's bench, maybe we could have a discussion, but other than that, it's not good. Psychic now, so we've got a Slowpoke with Rest. So it sleeps, heals 30 damage, fine, whatever, but 2 retreat cost, not good. And then Slowking, so 110, 2 energy Psychic, 10 plus, you do 30 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. It's fine, but the damage starts low, and it's like, okay, if they have 3 energy on them, that's 100, which is okay, I guess. Smoochum, so 30, and then Shivery Wave 20 times the energy attached to your active Pokemon. Just not, for free energy, like free cost, it's fine. Cleffa, the other baby. So Twinkly Core, put a random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. This is pretty powerful for free because you can do it first turn, which is nice. I think you might, this and Pichu are probably the ones you might see the most, I think. Togekiss. The main thing to remember is this can be Cynthia'd, so this attack can also read, you know, Cynthia makes it 120. Still, it's 3 energy, so you need to ramp up into it a little bit. If any damage is done to this Pokemon by attacks, flip a coin, if heads, prevent that damage. So I can guarantee you'll see videos about Togekiss and Will just making us immune to damage, which is fine, I guess. Like, nothing to go crazy about. Xatu, so 80 health, 2 energy for life drain, flip a coin, if heads, your opponent's active Pokemon's remaining HP is now 10. Sure, like it's 2 energy to do that. You have to spend the will to flip the coin, otherwise it's 50-50. They're still on 10 HP, so it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you throw this out and it like just takes a Charizard down to 10. Does that really matter? Like, I don't know how good that is, really. Espeon EX, unfortunately, you know, it was already overshadowed by Umbreon. It's absolutely overshadowed by Crobat, which just rips it. I think even through healing, it does, what, 80? There's 100 with the poison. You heal 30, and it still double taps you. So the healing is nice, but it's just, if it had more health, that would help, I think. So the Unown? Yeah. We got 2 of them actually, so we've got, first one has Guard, so this ability works if you have any Unown in play with an ability other than Guard. For example, this one which has Power. All of your Pokemon take -10 damage for attacks from your opponent's Pokemon, so it's permanent blue as long as you have 2 of these lads sat on the bench. And this one is basically permanent Giovanni as long as you have 2 of these lads sat on the bench. It's very much meme territory. Alright, on to fighting. So as I said, I think fighting is has the potential to be a bit of a sleeper hit in this meta, purely because if Crobat's really good, Crobat is weak to fighting. So you either need like Rampardos and a red to one-shot it after it evolves, or you do damage to it early to get rid of the Zubat. So let's look at Onix. So 100, 3 retreat cost, 3 energy for Headbutt. So is it actually better than the other one? So it's slightly better than the original one. So it has 10 less health. Land Crush, again, Land Crush requires full fighting energy. For 70, this is same energy, but it's colorless, because you're probably going to run this in Steel decks for the Steelix, which will come later. So 3 energy for 50. The main thing to remember is this can be brocked. So it looks expensive, but probably you're going to get at least 1 brock out. So it's sort of like 2 energy, really. If you're lucky and get double brocked up, you come out of that. But the main thing is this is more of a stepping stone to Steelix. Okay, Fanfy. Fanfy is good. Why is Fanfy good? 70 health, above average, quite nice. Fighting, Reckless Charge. This Pokemon also has 10 damage to itself. That's not so great. 2 retreat cost, also not good. But 30 damage. So what is this? This is kicking babies away. This is also one-shotting Zubats, which are weak to fighting. This is incredibly important because if you get this out, it means on your first energy you can remove a Zubat before they evolve. It has the potential to be really good. And then it evolves into Donphan EX, which is 160 health. Has Gigantic Press, which is 50 plus. If this Pokemon has at least 2 extra fighting energy attached, this attack does 60 more damage. So the important thing here is 1 energy. So you kind of think about it like the basic EXs, maybe they take a bit of time to build up. So if you have a basic EX, sometimes they have like a 1 energy attack and a 3 energy attack. This sort of has it built into 1. So your 1 energy attack is, hey, I do 50. Also that's 70. Again, because of other, Eevee and Sylveon, EVs are not going anywhere, is important. So you're doing 50 damage, which is good. And then you've got that second turn where you're doing 50 again, and then you're suddenly you're doing 110. It looks kind of weak, but I think considering the meta, this is interesting. Like this seems a lot better based on where the meta might be going. Tyrogue. So free energy for 20 is fine, but I don't think it's good enough. Hitmontop. Almost a good card. Because a basic, nice, 80 health, okay. Piercing Spin, 20. The attack also does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So this is Pheromosa, but fighting. Sadly, it's 2 retreat cost. So it's just not as good as Pheromosa. Also, one thing to take into account with any of the fighting stuff I talk about is Lucario exists, which means you can up that damage to 70, or maybe like 120, 130. If there's Lucario, maybe 150. So there's, I think, Donphan plus Lucario is something to look at. Into Dark now, and we're looking at the rest of the Zubat line. So annoyingly, the Zubat is also really good. 50 health, weak to fighting, very fragile. But 1 energy, Venomous Fang. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. Just solid. And also the Golbat does the same thing. So 20 damage, not great, but then also it's poisoning. Poisoned, you might see one of these as like a stepping stone. Crobat EX, already talked about it. This is going to be everywhere in the meta initially. Umbreon EX probably would be getting looked at more if it wasn't completely overshadowed in its own typing. I think there's an argument for one of these, especially if you're running something like Crobat with Sylveon. You can have this just so you can do Dark Chase, or maybe some damage as an option, and that's pretty fair. Sneasel, again, Weavile EX we haven't seen for a while, but you now have a better Sneasel that isn't sort of, you guarantee the damage, which means the Sneasel ability, which Sneasel EX's ability, not Sneasel, Weavile ability is EX. Weavile EX's ability, which triggers off damage, you just guarantee to trigger it. Tyranitar. I do like me a Tyranitar. This one is okay. Again, it's overshadowed in its own typing because of other cards. Energy Plunder. Once during your turn, you remove all dark energy from each of your Pokemon to this Pokemon. So that's pretty good, because you can sort of ramp up as the game goes on, and then bring out Tyranitar and dump energy onto him to sort of close things out. It's decent for a one-pointer, but I feel like it's just getting overshadowed. Absol, so leap over 1 energy. This attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. It's Dark Hitmonlee. Into Steel with Steelix. So the main thing to remember is we have Jasmine to basically mean this just takes minus 50 damage. It is also brockable, so probably by the time you go into this, you can brock 2 energy onto it. So it can come out faster than you think. You can Steel Apron it, so it's not getting poisoned, and it's minus 10 damage anyway. For a one-pointer, this can be real tanky. And also like 170, yeah, so with Steel Apron it, so with the Jasmine it can tank a Charizard. Scizor, it's always annoying when one of my favorites just gets a sort of mid card. So 100 Steel, 2 Energy, Gale Thrust, so 50, okay. If this Pokemon moved from your bench to the active spot this turn, this attack does 50 more damage. Seems absolutely fine. Skarmory EX. Did not see that coming. So 142 Steel Energy, Steel Wing does 70 damage. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes minus 20 damage from attacks. What that means is with Jasmine, it's minus 70. So you absolutely can tank a lot. Then also Steel Apron also would mean that's minus 30 going to minus 80. Being able to ignore poison is quite good with Crowbat around. Like, Steel's always not been quite there, you know, outside of things like Dialga. So the cards we're getting are sort of making it more interesting, but I don't know if it's quite enough. Also, it's worth pointing out that because it's an EX, you can run double Skarmory. So you can just have like quadruple Skarmory. So you can literally do Skarmory 16 trainers. Eevee. Now, you know, I've talked about things I would like to see in this set. It was, hey, maybe we can take the edge off Sylveon a little bit. So what they obviously did is they made an even better Eevee. Because the collect Eevee is you draw any card, which is maybe going to be good for some decks. This is Find a Friend, you put a random Pokemon from your deck into your hand. So it's just automatically the best Eevee for things like Sylveon, Eevee Box. It's just one of the best, possibly the best Eevee in the game. Lugia EX. So you can't really talk about Lugia EX without talking about Ho, because they're pretty much designed to work together. There's not really another good way of triggering the Elemental Blast otherwise. So this is absolutely fine, but then you're also waiting for Ho to charge up. So it's like, yeah, it's a combo deck, and it's like, it's okay, I guess. Then you're ramping up into this. I guess you can Lyra the Ho out rather than spending the retreat cost. But it's just kind of mid. For the flagships, they've unfortunately, just been overshadowed by Crobat and others. So that is it. That's a bunch of hot takes on the brand new set, which is coming out in less than 24 hours. I'm going to be doing a pack opening stream at some point tomorrow evening, my time. And I'll probably do another video on like new decks shortly after that. But what do you think of the new set? Is there anything you think I'm completely wrong with? Is there anything I missed that you think should be worth looking at? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, give me a like, a little cheeky sub maybe, and I will see you in the next one, yeah?